St. Paul writes, "I say then, live by the Spirit, and you will certainly not gratify the desire of the flesh." God created each of us with a God-shaped hole that only He can fill. St. Augustine put it well, "My soul is restless until I rest in you." The fuller that we fill this hole with God, the less room there is for desires of the flesh. I like to call these desires distractions. There are distractions in each of our lives which distract us from our walk with God. They can be things like food, shopping, gossip, sports, social media, etc. Sometimes these distractions can become compulsions when they are used to try to fill the God-shaped hole more and more. Even things like work and exercise can become compulsions. And sometimes in the case of things like gambling, pornography, alcohol, and drugs, these compulsions can turn into addictions. I would like to speak today on something close to my heart. In Broome County last year, there were 54 suspected fatal drug overdoses and 516 reported non-fatal overdoses. As of the first 3 months of 2022, there were 21 suspected fatal overdoses and 147 non-fatal ones. COVID has only made it worse. Substance use disorder is taking a toll on our families. I would imagine that many of us in church today are either suffering from substance use disorder, including alcohol, or are family members or a friend of someone who is suffering from substance use disorder. My cousin lost her 24-year-old son to heroin addiction. Both my sister and my brother-in-law died of complications of alcoholism. Now, I use the term substance use disorder because many of us, including myself up until recently, considered alcoholism and drug addiction as a moral problem. I figured that if they simply had good character, they would stop using these substances. I was wrong. These substances alter the brain chemistry of the user. They bond to receptors of chemicals that your body naturally produces and suppress their normal production. Then, when the substances are removed, the person can feel sick, unhappy, empty, and lifeless until the next dose of the substance. They need their chemical to feel normal. When you are caught in this trap, you can feel alone, ashamed, depressed, and despondent. You may have tried to quit a number of times, and you always seem to go back to it. St. Paul speaks of the yoke of slavery, and he also speaks of how to throw it off. About 10 years ago, I felt a call to help those suffering from substance use disorder. I looked into different ministries, and last year, an advertisement for a university course in substance abuse ministry randomly popped up in one of my social media feeds. I decided to take that course. In conjunction with the missionary servants of the Most Holy Trinity, I have become certified as an iTHIRST spiritual companion. This means I am trained to walk with you personally and confidentially. I am someone you can talk to about what you are going through, and I will listen with no judgment or condemnation. If you have a loved one who is going through this sort of thing, I can walk with you also and give you some insight into what your loved one is going through. If you are ready, I can walk with you on the road to recovery. I have connections and resources to get you the help you need. You can find green flyers like this and business cards in the gathering space. The flyer contains what we are all about and how we can help. And both the business cards and the flyers give you my contact information to contact me. The first step is coming out of the darkness and into the light, understanding that Jesus loves you deeply, unconditionally, and personally. He wants you healed. St. Paul says, I say then, live by the Spirit, and you will certainly not gratify the desire of the flesh. The first step is to lean on Christ and to fill your God-shaped hole with him and let him help you recover.